Okay. Welcome YouTube. I just added y'all on. Y'all know y'all can't get no music. Welcome to everybody, and thank y'all so much for tuning in to um Sharon's story. It's a story that is so important, and it's also a story that's very common. It's not only coming in the Black communities, but it's coming in all communities. But the reason why I like sharing these stories is because it's my community and it's people that look like me that mostly watch me. And it's also people that look like me that are sometimes turn a blind eye and I feel like are too lack when it comes to the signs and when it comes to style of child sexual trauma. So if you would like to, Sharon, at this time, you can introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, my name is Sharon Jackson Napier.
And can you tell us like where you from?
I'm from a little town in Alabama called Salipta, Alabama. Um, that's where I was born. Um, I lived there until I was about 8, 9 years old. And from there, I moved to New Orleans, Louisiana. When I was about 9 to 10 years old, and I moved to New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So we finna dive on in. You ready?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
You ready? Okay.
Yeah.
So who was Sharon as a little girl?
Sharon, as a little girl, lived in a house with her mother and 10 siblings. Well, 9 siblings, 10 including me.
Okay. What number were
Uh,
you? What number were you?
I'm number five.
Okay.
I'm number five. I'm number
Middle.
five. Middle baby. I'm the middle baby. My
Okay.
mother was alcoholic. She would was one of the worst type of alcoholics you would ever want to see, because to know her when she wasn't drinking, she was a good person, a sweet person. But when she drank, she turned into like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Hmm.
We went through a lot. All 10 of us, we went through a whole lot in life.
What are some of the things that you went through as a little girl? Not without getting to the trauma, but just living in the house with the mom, not getting into the sexual trauma, but just living in the house with the mom who was an alcoholic. What were some of the things that you saw or that you lacked?
I can remember us living in a house with no water, no lights, being cold, toting water from a spring. Um, I can remember being hungry. I can remember eating potato husks from the outside because we were so hungry. I can remember us going to these people where they dump their trash at, to scavenge through there to find food, to find uh, different things that we may need. I remember my mama, um, if we did have any money, which back then they wouldn't really give her any food stamps or welfare, because she had children and she really didn't want to really say who a lot of her kids' fathers was, because a lot of them really was Ku Klux Klans. You know, she had some for black men, she had some for white men. And whoever we look like, that's just who our daddy, who she said our daddy may be. But and she really didn't know, and she didn't know to tell them who our fathers were. So it was a while that we really, well, before we was really able to get any type of welfare or food stamps. So we were some hungry kids. I mean, I remember, like I said, eating off the ground. I remember having to stand around a fire just to keep warm, and we go to school. go there smelling like smoke. Kids picked on us. We was the children that nobody wanted to be around. Um, we went through a lot. We went through a lot as children. Went through a whole lot.
Do you remember any happy times? Do you have any memories that stick out as a little girl that make you smile and you go back and you be like,
No, no. We had to go to school without shoes. Um, no, no.
okay.
I can't remember any times.
I mean, I believe you're the first person that have ever sat on my show and couldn't, you know, regurgitate any good positive memories from your childhood. Um, so you end up you was born in that small town in Alabama, and then eventually y'all end up moving to New Orleans.
Well,
Was it New Orleans?
I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit.
Okay,
Um, yes, we went through that as a child,
okay,
children. My mother died in the year 2000, and about 10 years before she died, it's like God wiped the taste of alcohol right out her mouth. She never went to rehab. She never went through anything like that. It's like I don't know what clicked in her, but she stopped drinking. I can say all of those things, but I can have a smile on my face when it comes to my mother because she was the mother we always wanted. She loved us. She gloated on us. About 10 years before she died, she stopped drinking. She was the mother that we always wanted. We loved her so much. We forgive her for any and everything she did. She changed to that mother that we
that you
never
always
thought we would. And it's
right.
like I never seen nobody as bad as the alcoholic she was. It's just like God just wiped the taste from her mouth. She did not go through rehab. She did not do anything. She just stopped. She stopped. It was the mother that it was worth every bit of thing that we went through
To have her for them 10 years as
to
a mother.
have her for them 10 years and the mother that she was. So when I go back and I tell that story, I can tell that with the forgiveness of my mom.
Right, right,
All my
right.
brothers and sisters feel the same way. We forgive her. And what she showed us within those few years, give or take 10 years, it just we love her so much. We just forgive her, and she was that mother to us and our kids that we always wanted. So I did get that. We
Okay,
did get
good,
that.
good,
Mhm.
good, good.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
you got the experience that, and your kids got the experience that.
right, right. We
Okay,
did.
good. Okay, good. Oh, all
Okay.
right. So
Okay.
let's
What?
dive in. So you move from, but by 9ish, 10ish, you moved from a small town in Alabama and y'all moved to Louisiana.
No, it wasn't y'all. It was
Just you.
me. It was me.
Okay.
Uh, like I said, I don't want to go back too much of that, but as a child, when my mother had kids, and some of us was for black kid men, some of us was for white men, and the ones that was black, which I was one of the ones that was black, we kind of felt like that the half white kids was treated better, and they
Mhm.
was considered more beautiful. So I rebelled a lot. I mean, when I say rebelled, I mean I was mean, hateful, wouldn't listen, just a tomboy. I wanted to be with my brothers, didn't want to do anything. So my mama just about got tired of me.
Right.
So I had an uncle and an aunt that came from New Orleans, Louisiana. My mother, brothers, and sisters, they'll come down every so often to check on her. So they came down, and my aunt and my uncle, they had two boys, and they wanted a girl. And of course, I wanted to go, and being that I was terrorizing the younger kids because I was so mean, you know. She let me go. She let me go and stay. So I think I was like in the 5th grade when I moved down there, you know. When I moved down there in the 5th grade, so I went there about the 5th, 6th to this school down there, and my aunt, she found the job. She found the job at a gas station that she would work at overnight. And being that I was the only girl at that time, she would take me with her. She would take me with her to work. And just so happened was that I met somebody she became friends with, that my aunt had became friends with. It was the guy. And she told him about me, and I was about 13 then. And I would spend overnight with her, and him and I kind of bonded like daughter.
Okay, okay, so okay, so your aunt told the man who would end up being your rapist, basically, told him, she introduced you to him.
Yes.
Who was
Yes.
he to her? Just a friend?
He was her I think they had some type of dealings with each other, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying? She was,
okay,
she was a good person. They had some type of dealings with each other, you know.
okay.
Um and but she introduced him to me as a father figure. And that's all she ever knew. Uh and at times for me to get rest, she would let me go spend the night with him. And
Why
while I
why
was
would
like,
you why would you go spend a night with him to get rest?
because she worked in this gas station. It was like a little
Oh,
booth, a little small booth. And him and I started bonding like daddy and daughter. He would take me out driving, teaching me how to drive. He would give me like an allowance, like I can remember, $15 a week. My birthdays, Christmas. It's like we start bonding as daughter and father. So
right,
he
right.
didn't come on to me at first, you
Okay,
know. And about the time when I got about the end, okay, when I got 13, I think he bought me around that time. He bought me back in the days. It was popular. I had to go to. It was like $77.
hmm,
And so the more little things he would start trying to do for me, and then the more he started talking to me and telling me about um, this situation that he had before with this other woman and her kids, and that I think the kids was 8 and 10 years old. And he started telling me that they was got closer, and they start he started being with those kids, and they started having sex. And then it got more deeper when it came to me. It was like, I mean, I'm sitting up there. I was 13 or 14 at the time. I know I was 13 when he first started it, by the end of my 13 year. But 14 when it came into him just grooming me and then start touching on me, and then eventually having sex with me.
okay. So tell me what did you feel when he had that? Because the grooming process is a process. They can get you to let your guard down and trust and all that kind of stuff like that. So when he started having conversations with you about that those other young kids that he had sex with, what was your immediate thoughts when you first heard that?
When I heard that, I felt more comfortable when he started touching me. I felt more comfortable with him touching on me because I'm like 13 or 14. They're like 8 and 10 years old. So um, I'm really more comfortable with him doing that, because, and it almost was like, I want to love him the way they love him. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
want I want to please him like they did. And I want
Right.
him to love me and treat me. He would tell me what all he had would do for him, and he was doing things for me and doing stuff like that. So I wanted to show him that I loved him too.
Right. He made you feel like, did he make you feel like you were in, that you had to compete with the love that he said that they gave him?
Right, right,
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
And but I thought I did love him. I wouldn't tell my aunt because I know if I would have told her, I have no doubt she would have probably been, would have just reacted horribly. I know she would have stopped it. I know I wouldn't have been able to go there no more. I know he wouldn't have been in her life anymore. I know if I would have told her that she would have stopped it. And I had started caring about, I
I was
felt
gonna
like,
say, I was just gonna ask you this because we keep it real on here.
right.
So, in part of you not wanting to tell her, is it because you started loving him like he was your man? And if you would have said anything, and it's okay, you ain't got nothing to be embarrassed about. And if
No,
you
no,
would have
no, no.
said anything, would it have taken him away where you couldn't see him? Did you feel like that?
I don't think I was loving him towards me being him being my man because each time he touched me, it didn't feel right. I felt gross, but I just felt like, you know, it was a love that I never experienced before. This was when, I left from down here in Alabama and straight into, down there in New Orleans and I just had never felt being loved or somebody doing anything for
Yeah,
me or
yeah.
yes, or anything like that. But when he would, like I say, but I didn't I, I felt like I had to do that to satisfy him because he was at that time I thought he loved me. He just was doing things for me. I just felt like I owed him
I was just
what
gonna
he
say, you
wanted.
feel like when he would take do get, and I can understand that. I can completely get that coming from you not having nothing and not being shown that
Right,
type of love, and now you got it and you want to hold on to it. And if this is what I got to do to hold on to this because I ain't
right.
never had this before, I completely
Hmm.
get it. I completely get it. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah,
Okay, it started off with the grooming process, and of course, him talking to you and getting you comfortable to let your guard down and all of that, and then it went to touching you and all of that type of stuff like that. The first time, and then it moved into sex. So
right.
the first time that it became an act of when it became penetration, what
Hmm.
happened? What happened?
Basically, the first time when it became penetration, he made me feel at ease. He told me that he wouldn't get me pregnant. He said that he knew what to do without me getting pregnant. And that was withdrawal. And I trusted him. It just, it wasn't a good experience because it ain't what I wanted from him. I wanted him to be that daddy figure. So, but
Mhm.
I did it anyway. But that's what happened. He had sex with me, and it probably happened probably about 4 or 5 times, if not more, before I got pregnant.
And for the people that don't know, how old was he at this time?
He told me he was 62 years old, but in actuality, he was 64 years old. And
And
I was
how
14. I was 14 years old. It was
okay.
nobody else. I knew who child it was. Um, I
So
just knew it.
let me stop you right there. Okay, so y'all end up having sex. It's been like 4 or 5 times before you actually find out that you're pregnant. You end up pregnant.
Right.
So where how did you know you were pregnant? When did you find out that you were pregnant?
One particular day that my cousin, which was my aunt's son, he was younger than me, and he was always pick, 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 pick. I did when he did that, I think I hit him and I hit that child. I hit him real hard. I was probably 14 and he probably was like 9 or 10 years old. When my aunt found out what I did, she wanted to whoop me. But I was pregnant then and I just probably was extra mean. And usually when he picked with me, my cousin picked with me, I can really just blow it off. But this time here, I didn't want to blow it off. I wanted him to, I hit him. And I probably left his eye black or whatever. So when she got home, she wanted to whip me. The neighbors found out that what was going on, and they so happened to call the police. They thought she was abusing me, but she wasn't. She was just whipping me for me hitting my cousin. So what happened was when she called the police took me out of her custody and they put me in a foster home. When I was in the foster home, I was in there with like 8 other girls, and she would give us food, and the food that she would give us, like beets and stuff, it would make me sick on the stomach. I would just throw up, just sick. She kind of had an idea what was going on. So she took me to the doctor, and that's when she found out that I was pregnant. The
When
lady
you
at the foster home.
upon you hearing that you was pregnant, how did you react? What did you think at 14 when you found out that you pregnant by this old ass?
Protected him. Protecting him.
When
Protecting him.
when you say protecting him, I know what you mean. But when you say protecting him for the audience, what do you mean by protecting him?
Because I knew I couldn't tell my aunt because I felt embarrassed because that was somebody she was seeing too. Number one. Number two, I knew he was much older, and I knew what he was doing was wrong. And I knew if I told it and I told that it was him, that he would definitely get in trouble and go to jail or something like. And I cared about him. I didn't, I took a lot, I knew I didn't want to see him go to jail.
Okay.
So
So okay, you protect him or whatever. So when you get ready to tell so eventually do you move back with your aunt?
well, yes. When I was at the foster home, they would let us get on the public service bus and go catch the bus to go be with our family or whatever. So the foster mother, she noticed that he was coming to get me, and of course she was an older lady, and she probably put 2 and 2 together that this wasn't right, that this older man coming to pick up me. So what happened was, I think she did the best thing she knew how to, was to help me get back with my aunt. So the courts awarded me back to my aunt. And when they awarded me back to my aunt, being that my aunt did not know that this was the man that got me pregnant, she let me continue going over there, spending the night and being over there.
Okay,
But
let me go back a little bit. Let me ask you this.
mm-hmm.
When did you tell him that you were pregnant? How was that conversation when you told him that you were pregnant?
I think he kind of already knew, and
He
with
knew he was nutting. He knew he was pulling out.
yes, and he wasn't uh upset. He actually, like, he act like he was kind of happy. He did. My
At this
aunt.
time, did he already have children?
Yes, all his children was all fully grown adults at that time. They was probably in their 30s or 40s or whatever, but he wanted me to keep the child because my aunt did ask me, did I want an abortion? I told her no. And he was like going against her for asking me that. To me, he wouldn't say that to her, but he would tell me why she wants you to have an abortion. He don't, you shouldn't, he would. It's like he wanted that baby. It's like he was proud that he got me pregnant at 64 years old.
Wow. Wow.
He was proud.
Okay.
He was proud that he got me pregnant at 64 years old.
See. Okay, so he already know you pregnant. He's happy about it. Your aunt allows you to continue to go over there because she has no idea that your
No
father
idea.
figure is
Right.
who you're pregnant by, right?
Right.
And so that
Right.
continues to be able to go. So obviously that made the situation more comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So
Right.
did she find out that he was the father before or after you had the baby?
She found out after, but it was way much after.
Great.
It was. It was
Did,
way after.
did anybody know that he was your daughter's father all this time? Like anybody in the family, had you came out and talked about it?
No, the only ones that know, and I believe that really knew, was his children. His children knew. Yes, they knew.
And they kept,
His,
did they keep it a secret?
of course, yes, they kept it a secret. They didn't do anything about it.
They're rogue. That's their rogue in the black family I be talking about. They get all the dirt.
Mhm. Right,
The
right.
family is the rogue. The people that know about it and don't do nothing about it, that's the
hmm
rogue.
hmm But anyway, I had my daughter, and after I had her, I went back to
So
his
let me
house with.
say, so I could look. I want to know everything,
Okay,
right?
okay, that's fine.
Your life is literally like a movie to me. It really
Yeah.
is. Okay,
hmm
so going into the hospital and going into labor. Where were you when you went into labor?
Actually, I didn't go into labor. They had to induce my labor. I was like 2 weeks overdue.
Okay.
And mind you, I had a doctor, two doctors. They was two black doctors. I can remember these doctors' name with this child, but I can't remember the doctor's name with my last child, and that's crazy. But I can remember everything with this girl, my first child. And it's been like right at 40 years ago. But anyway, I had two black doctors. The doctor's name was Dr. Sherry and Dr. Box. It was like it was like the nice doctor and the mean doctor. Dr. Sherry was the mean doctor. Dr. Sherry, um, he wanted me to experience, he was that old-fashioned doctor that wanted me to experience pain.
Mm,
So I would never to make me not want to do it again.
mm-hmm.
I remember going in labor, they induced my labor. I remember the pains was so intense and so bad as a 15-year-old child. I stayed in labor probably for about 20 some hours, 20
Mm-hmm.
some hours before they finally even gave me anything. My baby girl was 8 pounds and 7 ounces. I had an 8 pound, 7 ounce baby girl. I had so many stitches till I had stitches everywhere, everywhere. It's like she tore me open. They had to get the forceps to pull her out.
Because you was a baby.
Yes,
You were a baby.
my bones
So
weren't totally open.
right, right.
hmm
So when you seen your baby for the first time after they cleaned up and did they bring her back to you?
Yes.
Okay, and you got to see your baby. Even as a 15-year-old girl, because my mom got pregnant with me at 15 and had me at 16. She still said I still felt like a mother. So when you lay eyes on your baby, what were your initial feelings and thoughts?
Love. That was the most beautifulest thing, the beautifulest, most beautiful child I ever seen in my life. I didn't think there was ever another child or person more beautiful than she was.
She is pretty.
She was drop dead gorgeous. She was a beautiful baby, beautiful baby. And to look at her, you would know that was his child.
Mm-hmm.
You would know that was his child. hmm Yeah,
But she's beautiful.
yeah, she was. She's beautiful. hmm
Um, so you see your baby.
hmm
Do you get to leave the hospital and then take her home and all that kind of stuff like that?
I left the hospital and I took her home and I went directly to his house with her. I
What
went direct.
when you first saw her? Okay, let me ask you this: who was in the hospital room with you when you were having your baby girl?
I don't think that they let nobody back there in the room with me when I had her.
So no
But
family.
I didn't hear you. Excuse me.
You didn't have any family.
My aunt probably came to the hospital, but they didn't let anybody back there. I'm sure my aunt, uh, yeah, I'm thinking that was my aunt that was at the hospital, but they didn't let her back there with me at that time. hmm
That's
Yes.
crazy. That's
Mm,
crazy. Okay, so fast forward, you have the baby, you leave the hospital, and you go straight to his place.
right.
Upon you get into the door with this beautiful baby girl, because I can imagine how pretty she is, because she's pretty now, you pretty. So imagine you get in there and you got your baby swaddled up, and you get in there and you get to the door with your baby, and he opens the door. How did that conversation go? How did that moment go?
Well, I think he picked me up from the hospital with her. I
Oh, he
think
came to
that's what happened. Yes, I think he was the one that picked me up from the hospital and brought me back to his house. And yeah, that's how they would. He got me in the house and probably just like a normal, I probably got in the bed and, stayed, just like a normal person would do when they have a baby, you know.
Okay.
Mhm.
So eventually, how long did you have the baby in your possession where she was before anything else happened? How long was it that you had her and was mothering her?
I had Adrian up until I think I was about 17 years old. And I think I lived with him until I was about 17 years old. Um, and that's around the time what took place that made me leave. He would go to work. He worked at NASA, an engineer at NASA. He would go to work, and I would be home with the baby. And he had a daughter that was close to my age. She may be a little bit older than me, give or take. And at that time, when I would go back and forth and seeing my aunt with the baby, I had met this guy. So I kind of start talking and liking someone else, but I wouldn't let him know
Right.
because he wouldn't go for it. So happened that his daughter invited a guy friend that she had over to his house while he was at work. And I invited the guy that I liked over there. So, one thing led to the other, but so, and the guys left, but him and his daughter and I was still at the house. So I left and I went to school one day. She told him what had done happened. She told him what had done happened.
At this point, well, yeah. At this point, did she know that you and
Yes,
him had a baby?
yes,
Oh,
she
let me
knew.
ask you this right here before we go any further. With you living with him from the time you basically had the baby and up until this started happening, was your aunt okay? She still at this time thought that he was like your father?
Yeah, yeah, she thought that. She
Okay,
thought that.
wow.
She, I
But
wouldn't tell nobody.
he had you groomed well.
Real
Well,
good.
that wasn't because it wasn't none of that your goddamn fault. But because of the way that your mindset was set up. He set your mindset up like that.
And I
Okay.
didn't want to happen to him. I
Right.
didn't want nothing to happen to him.
Right. So she ended up telling him about y'all had boys over there at the house or whatever had happened and all of that. And then
Right.
what happened?
His another one of his daughters, which was much older than the one that was at the house with me when we had the boys over there. She came by his house one day, but I was gone with Adrian. I don't remember, but when we walked in, he was ready to put me out. They had done took all my clothes, took all my baby's clothes, threw them away to leave.
Woo!
You told me
Okay.
I had to leave.
Okay, say it again because you had popped out the screen.
I said, he had one of his older daughters there, which was much older than me. She had done took him and her had done took all my clothes, all the baby clothes, and threw them away or did something. They didn't give me anything. They put me and my child out. They made me leave.
So when they put y'all, okay, so this is why I want to be in that moment. When you
Hmm.
came home, you seen they had to got all your stuff packed up and they was doing all this stuff. What was the conversation that you and him had? Did y'all even have a conversation?
I can't too much remember, but I know I was upset. I know I was crying because I can remember that much. I didn't want to go. I was hurt that the daughter told on me. You know what I'm saying? And I just was hurt. I mean, and I didn't really have nowhere to go, but my aunt did let me come back there to stay. She let me came back there to stay.
Where
But they
and when you talk, what did you tell your aunt was the reason why you were coming back? And was
I
your aunt and him still together at this point? Were they still together?
He kind of like left her alone. He kind of like stopped trying to see her in, you know what I'm saying? Stop being with her because of me.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
he was looking at me more like I'm a woman. He was looking at me more like I'm his woman. But I never felt like that with him because I was young and I still wanted to, you know, do things that a
Right.
young person do.
Right. And date and explore people your age.
Right, right,
Right.
right. So he
Okay.
got upset with me about that. He got upset and got mad and he put me and my child out. I don't know exactly particular what I told my aunt why I was coming back there. I could have told him me and him got into it, you know, we got mad about something, you know, like, you know a daddy would do.
Right.
But I can't remember exactly what I told her, but I know I didn't tell her. Uh, I could have told her that, and he just didn't want to have us to have boys in the house. I don't remember what I told, but I know she didn't have any idea that he was sleeping with me.
Okay. All right. So you get back, you and your baby, y'all staying with your aunt. You raising your baby girl. At this time, what you doing? Are you in school? You working?
I'm doing some school, and then I'm doing school, and then I met this guy,
Okay.
which ended up being one of my son's fathers. I met him. I think I was like 16 going on 17, and he was like 21. That's the same guy. No, I met him before I had moved out. That's the
So
guy who
you
I had bought in the
to the house.
house.
Okay.
That's the guy
Okay.
who I bought in the house. He was like 21. He still was older than me, but not that great of a difference. Like, you know. And I think
Mhm.
and I want to be honest, I think I lied to him and I think I was 16. I think I told him I was 17. I think
Okay.
I told him I was older because, you know what I'm saying? I liked him just that much.
Hmm.
But I end up moving out the house with my aunt and end up moving in with him. He had done had his own apartment and everything. Um, very abusive. He probably beat me. Very abusive. Um, but he I started working. I started working while I was living there with him, and I was going to school, started working. I couldn't keep Adrian. You know, I was working. I was going to school and wanted to go to school, and her dad, he offered me. He said, I'll put her in daycare, and I'll get her sometimes, and you get her sometimes." And I said, "Okay." So that went on for about almost a year, almost a year, with us both. She would stay some by him, stay some by me, stay some by him, stay some by me. So that went on for almost a year. And then more I get to working, um, and wanting to come, then I would want to come get her, and he was like hesitant and wouldn't hardly let me come get her like I was getting her. So I said to myself, well, I'm working now, you know, he won't let me come get her, so I'm about to get me a lawyer. All the while, he already thinking about he gonna get him a lawyer, but
He
he
couldn't.
not gonna get no. He didn't do nothing. He waited until I got 18. He waited until I got of age before he did anything for us
Mm.
trying to take her. And so the little lawyer that I got, it may cost me $150. But I told him the situation. I told him that this is her father. The lawyer assured me, oh, this is an open and shut case because of his age and my age, right?
Right.
So when we get
Because
into court,
charges should have been brought against them when they added it up that it was rape.
right? So when we get into court, that particular day. I think I was 18, going on 19. We get into court, and I don't remember exactly what happened in court, but his lawyer pulled me to the side and wanted to talk to me solely by myself. So he pulled me in a room, and he was like, this is the best thing for Adrienne. I'm sorry, I didn't want to mention her name, but this is the best thing for her. You know how old he is. I said, but I want my child. I said, how is it? I'm telling him that this man did this to me, and the age I was when he started having sex with me. Why would you say that it's okay for my daughter to be with him, or feel like that he should have my daughter?
Or that she would be safe with him when he like messing with little children.
His words were to me, we can make it seem like, he's saying that you was selling your body, that you was prostituting yourself. He said, you're not going to win this. And then he was like, you're going to have to prove that was his child. Like, he was like, he didn't believe me that was this man's child because of the age.
Mm-hmm.
I was so confused. I didn't have nobody to fight for me. I didn't have nothing. The lawyer that I had, he didn't say nothing. He didn't do anything in court. It was like he didn't represent me at all. Not one bit. They made it seem like I was an unfit parent. To this day, I still don't understand why did the courts give him my child. It's because, but I feel like I know why. Their lawyer was hired. The lawyer was a judge and a lawyer. He knew the system. He knew the judge that was presiding over the case.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't me saying anything was court. It was like I wouldn't even give it a chance to say anything in court. I wouldn't give it a chance to tell my case. They just took her because he already particularly had her.
Right. He already had her. He worked for NASA. It was established.
Right.
And all of that. And so they looking at you as a young mother and then trying to put you out there like you was a prostitute, right, and fucking on this old ass man.
And on drugs. Prostitute and on drugs.
Yeah. And when it was actually you was just being taken advantage of as a little girl.
Right.
And I'm like you, what I can't understand is if the judge, but you know what? Back then, really, even though it's today, with just that it's out more because we talk about it and we speak out about what be happening to us. But back then, them judges and shit, them old ass men back then, they believed in fucking on them little young girls like that.
Right.
They believed in it. It wasn't no, because like all of the, when I look back at like the sexual trauma in my family, them old ass men that was fucking on them, and they believed in that shit. That's why I say the family is the role. The family is the role. And it just looked like they would have thought to themselves, like, but I put two and two together. And if she was this age and she got pregnant by this old ass man, but they didn't give a fuck, and plus he could pay his way out of shit. There is no possibility that this baby could possibly go through this because this man is attracted to children.
His lawyer, I felt like nothing. His lawyer was up there laughing and talking to the judge, and I just felt helpless. So after it all came two. They wind up giving him custody of my daughter. He changed her last name. They start giving me supervised visitation.
Because you was a drugged out prostitute.
Never.
I know you wasn't, but I'm saying that that's what they tried to portray.
Yes. Yes, they had to make me look that way for him to take her. Some of the worst feelings I ever felt was being people had to watch me, which one of his daughters was one of the ones that did it. Watch me with my child that I love so much it would have never hurt.
Like you was gonna do something to her.
Like I was going to do something to her.
Take your time, Sharon.
And then after they stopped giving me supervised visitation, they give me a little bit more, like maybe getting her. I think could get her like every other weekend. And I remember one time so good, I was supposed to get her on a Friday and bring her back on a Sunday. And he must have got it wrong. He called the police on me because he thought that I was trying to take her. He thought I was supposed to be bringing her back that Saturday, but it was that Sunday. I was right. And he was calling everybody, the police and everybody, to get, because they thought that I was supposed to bring her back that Saturday. He put me through hell. He put me a living hell. And a lot of it, I don't think he too much was really caring about getting her. He had to retire. I think he wanted to still live the lifestyle with using his money as a bargaining tool to get women. And by him getting Adrian and putting her in his name and getting custody of her, he was allowed to get a check off of her to draw his big retirement and then get money off of her. So that went on for years and years. I never gave up on my child. Never.
Throughout the years, were you able to, as she got older, were you able to come like get more regular visitation and unsupervised visitation?
Yep, throughout the years. And I never missed a day. I never missed a day. I would pick her up from school on the weekends. Anytime that I possibly get, I stayed in her life. Even though he was getting checks for her, I still helped take care of her. I still helped provide it for her. And then they end up moving to this place called Franklinton, Louisiana. I would drive, and I stayed in where did I stay? I think it started staying like in Jackson. I think either I was maybe in Bladen Spring at the time. I would drive there any chance I got, almost 4 hours away, back and forth. Summer, holidays, just to get her, just to be with her. Anything I could do.
How did you and your daughters how were y'all relationship around this time? Like how was it?
What she would do is he had done poisoned her head so bad. He had done, and it was a long time before I really knew the extent of the things that he was saying to her. What she would, the things that she would do to show her hurt or whatever, she would, like, I would be embarrassed to tell people, like, I done been married 3 times. I would be embarrassed to tell my husband that was my daughter's father. I would pretty much tell them that was my dad because I was embarrassed. I was ashamed.
Wow.
But she would make sure that everybody knew that that was her dad. Like, wanted me to look bad. She just to me she didn't do those things to me, but she would go back to family and friends and tell them things, and they wouldn't tell me anything. I was once supposed to let uh, cocaine went up her nose or something like that. Never even looked at cocaine nor weed, anything like that. Didn't even drink back then. I was supposed to pour in some hot water, all kinds of things that he would tell her. Never happened.
So
Never.
he would tell her that these did he tell her that these were the reasons why she was staying with him and not her mother?
Probably so. Probably so. And I think she her and look at it from her stand. That's that her father was just like a mother. You just got to think about it. He was the one that she was. So her, he's a monster. He's not this. He's not that. So a child just by believing that parent that's living with say, I'm just like I look out. I was just like a person that like a baby's father. Put it like that.
Right.
And and anything that he would tell her, she believed it. She believed it. She believed it, and to this day, I still feel like she believed it.
Let me ask you how when did he die? Because he dead.
I really don't really know the year he died in. I can't even think about it. I mean, because of the stuff I went through,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even believe. But let me see. Um, I think he's seen her first child. I think he's been dead probably about 17, 18 years. I think he's been dead about 18 years.
And today, how old would he have been today if he was still living?
103. 103. 103.
But let me collect my motherfucking fan.
Yeah, 103.
How is the relationship between you and your daughter today?
I don't, I have to tiptoe around it. I mean, it used to be horrible. I mean, I used to try to cry out to her to let her make her understand what I went through. But I try to understand her point. That's her father that I'm talking about.
Right.
It's her father. That's the man that pretty much raised her that I'm
Right.
talking about.
Right. So she don't see him as a predator. She just see
No,
him as you talking about my daddy.
right. That's how she see him as. And I thought, once it would be gone, and she's a Christian woman. She's been married now. She's doing really good in life. She's been probably married for about 19 years. And she got 2 kids. And it just, I just wish that, I just wish that she can tell me she forgive me. I mean, it don't sound right for me to say that, but I feel like that I have hurt her by, I don't know if she thought that I could stand up or do more than what I did. Um, I I'm not. I never asked her to hate her father. I just wanted her to understand what I went through as a child. That I was a child. I did the best I could do.
Um, do you have a relationship with your grandchildren?
Yes, I do. I do. And, you know, I love them to death. I try to be as active in their life as I can. She don't stop me. And her and I, good times and stuff like that. But I just feel like I want to feel the ultimate love of my child. I
You
want to
want you
feel
you want to feel what you felt from your mother before she left.
right. I want to, I want her to, and I know it's hard for her to do that. And I know it's hard for her because that's our father. She don't see him as what all I done been through. And some of the things she know about. But his children, his older kids, they could have stepped in and did a lot more than what they did. They knew what their father was doing. They knew what he was doing before me, but they allowed it to happen.
And you can't even really blame them because you don't really know what their history with their father is. Um, for them to protect him and to know that he was doing it to somebody even younger than you, and it was something that they talked about, and if they talked about it comfortably, that's like a red flag. You know what I'm saying? Like what was going on in y'all household that y'all know that this is going on, and it's like but y'all can have comfortable conversations about it because we don't know. You know what I'm saying? You don't really know, and all we can do is assume. So the blame is completely and totally on this old rusty ass old man who ain't had no business taking advantage of a child. Didn't have any business taking advantage of a baby that he knew your background and what you have been through, and he stepped up to pretend to be that because he knew you craved that. You know what I'm saying? And he knew that you wanted that. I'm pretty sure you were able to be honest with him as y'all got closer to, and I'm pretty sure your aunt was honest with him, like, well, this is what my
Yeah,
niece
yeah,
went through,
yeah.
yada yada. So he knew.
You
So
know,
what she kind of did was, I don't know if it was intentionally or unintentionally, she kind of gave him the playbook to what he needed to do in order to reel you in. And being that you were a child and that was not your biological father nor her husband, she should have been more. I got to put some of the blame on her. She should have been more responsible. And I know Sharon, I know how you feel about your auntie. I know how you feel about it. But you were in her care. And if she didn't allow this man to have this much freedom with you, this shit would have never happened. So I still, just as a woman and as a mother who also had a child who been through this and had to take responsibility myself for letting my daughter even be around my father, because I had to take responsibility. I went and got him and brought him to my house to watch my girls. So I had to take responsibility because if I wouldn't have brought him there, it wouldn't happen. You see what I'm saying?
mhm, right.
So I got to put the responsibility back on your aunt, and you doing that thing again that you do, and you do it from a place of love, which is protect.
Mhm.
I get it, which is protect, who you love. But we gonna put the blame on. I'm gonna put the blame and the burden and the shame, because you ain't got a motherfucking thing to be ashamed about, on your auntie for being irresponsible and not present enough to see what was going on and giving you too much fucking freedom as a child to go stay with a man she shouldn't have did that she was dating. And also, of course, with him, because he is the perpetrator. So that's who the blame lies with. Those are the people that drove the ship. Everybody else is just a passenger on the train. There go the captain, there go the co-captain. They were she brought him. She was there to guide you and lead you, which was what she was supposed to do, but you could even coming down there. She allowed him to come in and guide you whatever way he wanted to guide you and lead you. And that's that it's their fault, Sharon. It's their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault that you was a mother too young. It's their fault. All that hurt and pain that you went through, and all this shit that you going through right now, it's their fault. It's your aunt's fault and it's his fault. It's not your fault. It's not your daughter's fault. It's not his children's fault. It ain't nobody else's fault. They were the ones to protect you and they didn't. She didn't protect you and he took advantage of her non-protection. And that's just the truth. And that's just the truth. You know, when you just have to sit in it, because I know I see you doing it right now for you protecting your aunt. And just have to sit in it, when you just have to sit in it and just look at it for what it is, without protecting nobody, just worried about yourself and what really happened and how you got to be honest with yourself so you could begin to heal. She didn't protect you. She didn't. That don't mean that you don't love her, and that don't mean she didn't love you. A lot of times, back in them days, they went through shit that where they weren't protected, and it was just shit that was just brought down the line and down the line that was passed. My grandmama wasn't protected, so my mama wasn't protected, so I wasn't protected, so I didn't know how to protect my daughter. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So we're gonna put the blame where it goes, because in order for you to begin really healing, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with who let you down and then protect baby girl Sharon.
Right.
And it's okay, because you the carried everybody's hurt. You the carried your hurt and everybody's secrets and the blame. Protecting people. Killing yourself because you protecting people. It's time to protect yourself.
Right.
It's time to free yourself and protect yourself and give a fuck about yourself. And when everybody, and when your truth, for you to start freeing yourself with your truth, everybody else you have to say fuck y'all. Not generally fuck, but fuck y'all. Fuck y'all for right now. Because right now, I'm drowning in my hurt. I'm drowning in my pain. I'm drowning because my daughter don't love me like I need her to. This shit is hurting me because I'm protecting you motherfuckers. No more. Fuck them. No more. And guess what? As for your daughter, baby, I love you, but I'm going to have to let you watch this video. And I'm going to have to let you process this shit. Process it and sit with it. And you're going to have to grow the fuck up. Because I'm going to need you to step outside and see me as your mother and look at me as a woman. I had to do that with my mama. That's the only way I started to be able to heal with my mama. Once I could look at her as a mother, as a woman, and take out her being she failed at this. She didn't do this right. She didn't do that right. Da, 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 da. When I said, you know what? Not only is she my mother, yes, she my mother, but let me look at my mama as a woman. Let me talk to her and see what she went through. And then when I was able to see what she went through and all the stuff that she dealt with, I was able to see how shit was able to happen with me. You see what I'm saying? But then I had that conversation after shit had already started happening with my daughter.
Right.
But once I had that conversation, I was like, you know what? I can't blame her for trusting the people that she trusted.
Right.
Who don't trust their grandma and go to your grandma and granddad's house? So your uncle gonna be up there. You know what I'm saying? But put the blame where it goes. Put the blame. It ain't on you. It ain't your daughter's fault. It's your aunt and his fault. Why you and your daughter even in the place that y'all at? Right. It ain't none of your fault.
Right.
So put the blame where it go. And take that shit off your motherfucking shoulders and give that shit to them. That's y'all didn't protect me. Now me as 55-year-old Sharon, that's the mistakes I made as a grown woman, I got to be accountable for. But for that shit, from where it started at, from where the wound started at,
right.
That ain't got nothing to do with you. You wasn't a willing participant. You were a child.
Right.
So I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
And really, you know, when we get off of here, I want you to sit in that, you know, because the way you've been doing it and the way you've been carrying it, it ain't working.
Right. It ain't.
It's not working no more. So at some point you have to, and you're doing it right now. This is the first step of you saying, I'm going to give a fuck about me.
Right.
I'm going to give a fuck. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so, because I know what it takes. I know what it takes. I know what it takes to strip yourself bare and put yourself out there and tell your story. And people gonna judge you, what the fuck they gonna judge you and say what they gonna say. But you know what? You got to have an attitude. And I hope that you got a spirit of I don't give a fuck. Because it ain't about nobody else. It's just about you. At this point, you need to be selfish, Sharon. At this point, you gotta be selfish. At this point, you over half of your life. That have already been fucking heartbreak and misery. Not to say it ain't one no good times, but it's a lot of heartbreak over there. That 55 now, it's time to take your life back, and it's time to fucking laugh and genuinely fucking laugh. It's time to smile, and it's a genuine fucking smile. It's time to do shit and genuinely do it from a place of freedom. And this is the beginning.
Right.
This is the beginning. When your aunt found out, what was that conversation when you finally had to have that conversation with your aunt and be honest and be like, look, this is my baby daddy? How did that go?
I never could, and she died. I never could have that conversation with her. I think somebody had told her that, but she never mentioned it to me. And she died of cancer. She died of cancer, but we never had a conversation about it. She died.
Without you ever being able to.
Without me ever being able to say anything.
And have a conversation and even ask questions.
Right.
But you don't need that closure. You don't even need it. And it ain't something that I want you to even dwell on or even beat yourself up about it because you can't ask her. You can't call her, you can't ask her, or none of that. The only thing you could do at this point is sit in your truth and in your honesty.
Right.
Sit in your truth and your honesty of the fact that I had an aunt that didn't protect me. I got pregnant. She still allowed certain shit to go on. She knew. I feel like she knew. When I was being molested, other people knew. When my mama got molested, other people knew that he was capable of that. When my grandmama got fucked, that other people already knew that what he was capable of and who he was as a person. Right. But it's that rug. It's that rug again.
Right.
Because sometimes for a person to admit they knew something, is to have to admit that they was a piss ass motherfucking guardian. And that's the truth. Just think about it. If you had to admit to allowing some of the stuff that happened to you to happen to your daughter, if you was there, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. You have to take responsibility and admit that you just fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So sometimes people know and they don't say shit because if you don't say shit, they can lie to themselves enough and tell themselves that you don't know that they know. That you don't know. You know what I'm saying? That you naive to shit. But when it really is to admit it, is to have to say that I wasn't all that Christian woman that I was sitting up in the church that I wasn't necessarily, that Christian. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to say that that's what the case was, but I'm just saying from what I see and discern, what I feel, So anything else, Sharon, that you want to put out, and let me ask you this: if you could, first I want you to close out your story because it's your story, and then I want you to just speak to young women or young girls. What would you tell your younger self about protecting yourself from men and not allowing, if you could go back and tell your younger self, or if it's another 14-year-old girl who is out here being messed with, or that's in her future, what would you tell her to watch out for or not to do or to do?
I would tell them to tell somebody. I would tell them that your mind is not mature enough to understand the things that a man is an adult is putting you through. Therefore, you shouldn't, if a person that's making you grow up before your time A child shouldn't grow up before their time. And when a man is touching you or when somebody is molesting you, that's putting you in a position or in a predicament that you're not ready, your body is not ready for it, your mind is not ready for it, then it's something is wrong. Something is wrong. They are wrong. It's not nothing right about someone making you feel uh nasty, dirty. Uh it ain't it's nothing you doing wrong. It's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's something wrong with them.
Mhm.
And it's not right. It's just, and it's always other ways that you can um, feel loved, feel protected, than to let someone that don't love you or don't care about you, because no child wants to be touched on. No child wants to be
Right.
uh, feel like an adult or feel like they're dirty, or that they did something to make someone do this to them.
Right. Right.
And it's just,
Anything else? If they have any questions in the audience, do you mind them asking any questions?
yeah, they can ask me a question.
Okay. If y'all have any, I'm not going to scroll all the way back. If y'all have any questions that you would like to ask Sharon, y'all free to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that anybody wants to ask, I need y'all to type now.
I
I
don't
try.
mind asking.
Yeah, she's an open book. They said
Yeah, I'm
stay
an open book.
strong. Um, um, any questions that y'all got to ask? I try to ask. Okay, here go a question. Did he touch their daughter? Did he touch your daughter?
I have asked her that, and she said no. She told me no. I have asked her that. You know, I asked her that, and I always wondered, but she always said no. She always said no.
And you know something that I had told you the other night when we was talking, and with her being so angry with you, and this doesn't mean it's true. I mean it's a fact. But I was
Mm-hmm.
telling you, I was like, if um he did touch her, she probably wouldn't tell you, and she probably would take it to her grave and protect him just like you did. And if he did touch her, and you could want her to tell you, she just might be just as strong headed as you are. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because you protected him, you let Auntie die, and went, you know what I'm saying, and never had that conversation with him because you
Never.
protected him, because you loved
Mm-hmm.
him. And so the
Mm-hmm.
love that she has as a father, and you just had him as a father figure, but this is her
Right.
dad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's something that we'll probably, never know. And maybe one day, hopefully it didn't happen. Shit, we don't want it to even been happen.
So
But if it,
hopefully it didn't. I
right,
want to
we
believe. I want to believe her.
yeah. We don't really want that to be nothing that even happened. But if it did, hopefully one day she'll be able to talk to you about it.
Right.
What about his other daughters?
What do you mean? Have he ever touched them, or what you mean? What
Or have
about
you
them?
ever, yeah, I guess maybe like, have you ever heard anything about any inappropriate things with his other daughters? And they wouldn't tell
No,
anyway, because hell, they were so good on keeping a secret that you was his baby mama and you was a
they was
child.
they was the ones who helped him take her from me. The one of the daughters got him the lawyer. The particular lawyer knew the lawyer that was the judge and a lawyer, and she the one who she tried to take her too. She tried to take Adrian. She tried to take my daughter from him. She wanted her too.
Wow. I wonder why she wanted them. Why she did, if it wasn't money, about money, why did she want it? What did she want to protect her from? Did anyone ever press charges on him for any other sexual assaults?
No, no.
Somebody said, did your aunt ever talk to you? Did your aunt ever talk to you about what happened? What you mean when you say did her aunt? Damn, this coming is going fast. Did your aunt ever talk to you about what happened? Brenda, clarify that. Um, Anything else that you would like to say? Anything, whatever is on your heart, whatever you want to say, whatever.
I just want my daughter to know that I love her. She's been a missing part of my heart ever since that day. I would never be complete. I don't think I'll ever be complete because I don't that love I want from her. I don't think she could do it. I think she loves, but I don't think that she would ever, I would ever be able to feel that love like I feel with the other kids. That she could ever love me like I just feel like that she go through the motion because of her brother, but I feel like she can't feel that type of love that I wish she did feel towards me. And I
I'm gonna
mean,
give
I
you.
just,
I'm gonna give you a
huh?
little hope on. I'm gonna give you a little hope on that. You never thought, and your mom probably thought she would never get to the place where she could love her children in the capacity that she could love them. She probably never
Right.
thought that she could clean herself up enough to even come to that place. But she showed up for y'all before it was too late.
She sure did.
She showed up.
She sure
So
did.
don't be so you could be hurt about it. And it's
Yeah.
been a long time and you see what she's shown you and you don't and you're not getting what you want. But you didn't get what you wanted from your mama for a long time. But
Right.
before you able to sit on here, no matter all the fucked up shit she did, you still
Right.
able to sit on here and say, you know what, the last 10 or so years of my mama's life, she showed the fuck up and showed the fuck out for me and my brothers and sisters and her fucking grandchildren. And that
Yes, she did.
outweighs all the other fucked up shit that she ever did. And
Right.
your daughter is very capable of feeling and doing that same thing. Y'all relationship is very capable of being healed.
Right.
It is.
Right.
It
Mm-hmm.
is. You just keep praying about it and keep talking to God about it and keep speaking positivity and keep speaking life into that situation. Because
Right.
it's very
Right.
you seen it happen in your own life. You remember being
Yeah.
so angry at your fucking mama and thinking, mother,
Mm-hmm.
bitch, you ain't gonna never come around and be no fucking mama. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And she
Right.
showed the fuck up and she showed the fuck out.
She sure did. She sure did. She sure did.
So don't be
She
hopeless.
sure. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Don't be. I don't want you to be hopeless about it because the hopelessness ain't the depression and all that shit. You already going through enough, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't grasp anything else, if you can't grasp nothing else to hope about, look at what your own mama showed you.
You're
Look at
right.
what she showed,
Mhm.
and it wasn't through. And what she showed you, she had to fight through addiction. Your child just got to open her heart up. She just got to drop
Right.
that wall and open her heart up to her mother.
Right.
Your mama, your mama already had the heart and all that. She had to fight a demon, literally.
Yeah. Yes. A horrible demon. I
You
don't
see
know
what
how
I'm
she
saying?
did it.
I was look at Gigi over there being good. You see what I'm saying? So, but you don't know how but she did it.
Yep.
So
She sure
that's
did.
one less battle that your daughter even got to fight to even get y'all to that point. All she needs to do is let go.
Right. Right.
That's all she
Right.
got to do. She got to let go of what she thought was and all that kind of what could have been and all that. All she got to do is what I had to do. I had to look at my mama and fuck what she did in the past. I had to see who she was that was standing in front of me. And standing in front of me was a woman who was much softer, a woman who I could now go and talk to about. I could talk to about any motherfucking thing. Anything. Was a woman who was
Right.
more loving and more, you know what I'm saying, bendable. She ain't all strict and mean and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, regardless of who she was to me as a child and how much she got on my motherfucking nerves, and I ain't like her, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because of how I was hurt, The
Right.
woman that stand in front of me today, and the woman that stands in front of me that where we mended the relationship, she's not that woman no more. I had to see my mama for who she is today and let go and let go who she was back then. But what is she showing
Right.
me today? She's showing me that she's a
Right.
mother, a damn good mother. That's what she showed me.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So she'll get to that point, and that's what, and you know what, and that's what you dwell on. Stop dwelling on, because I really believe in the law of attraction.
Right.
And if you keep dwelling on the problem, all you're gonna keep seeing is the problem. So what you got
Right.
to move to now is how it's so easy for you to see the relationship being fucked up and you not getting what you need and she not getting what she need and all this, you know what I'm saying? Now you need to start seeing her coming to you and being loving. You done
Right.
put this on, you done put this shit out here now. It's out here now.
Yeah.
It's out here.
Yeah.
So now
It's out
I
there.
know what the consequences was and what I could have risked by coming on here, but I had to free myself. But now
Right.
it already was that way anyway. So now you need to
Mm-hmm.
retrain your mind to coming to the house. To see y'all
Right.
sitting up there laughing, drinking sweet tea and shit, and talking shit. And mama, I need you to come over here and help me with this, and calling you and asking you
Mm-hmm.
how many eggs to put in this and all that kind of stuff. That's where you got to move your mind. Because until you move your mind to that place, you're not gonna see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not gonna see it. And that's the trick.
Mm.
That's how the enemy trick your mind. He had you so hurt and so hurt. All you see is hurt and dwell on hurt, pain. You just a walking billboard of hurt and pain. And you
Right.
stay in that cycle because that's all you allow to consume your mind, consume your mind. Now you need to be okay. Now let's start consuming your mind with what you want to see, not what is or what has been. But now, Sharon, what do you want to see? Let's do it on that. Let's bring that and manifest it and bring that
Right.
into the reality. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's my wish and hope for you. And I'm telling, not only I'm telling you, it's because I did it.
Right.
I'm telling you because
Right.
I did it. I was your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Right.
I was your
Mm-hmm.
daughter, and you were my mother that wanted a relationship with her child, and I shunned you because I was hurt.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not talking to
Exactly.
you from a place of sitting on here getting in your motherfucking business. I'm talking to you because I was your daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else you want to say? Anything before we close this interview? This has been an amazing interview.
No, it's nothing else I want to say.
Nothing else you want to say?
Nothing else I want to say. But I thank you. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell my story. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I just want to say, thank you for. I didn't know that I needed your story when I needed it. Your story, you know, I had to go on there and cuss me a bitch out today. That came from me first.
Yeah, it's
but
okay.
Because of your story made me want to grow up. Your story, and so many stories like yours. But when I got off the phone with you, talking to you, your story made me realize I can't keep playing with my purpose because there's people out here like you that need to sit here and free yourself. So I want to tell you thank you, and I love you for that.
I love you
thank
too.
you for growing my bald-headed ass up. You grew me up in a moment. You don't even understand. I was so full yesterday. I was crying all day, Sharon. I was so full yesterday.
I was too. I've been full
and
too.
I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you for I needed you, and I didn't know I needed you, and it was just you that made me get to that conclusion. So thank you. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to this interview. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me and being on here. Thank you, Sharon. I love you, and that's you. Y'all already know. I love everybody that love me. I fuck with everybody that fuck me. I didn't even take them off for YouTube. Wait a minute, y'all.